All right. Hello, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to another episode of NOS Live here on youtube.com/nerdsonsite every single 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is the time, this is the place. Welcome back. I am, as always, your host, Will, and joining with me today, I have a panel of familiar faces for those of you who have been watching the last 11 episodes of the show. We have joining us today, Leanne Kavanagh. We have Elyse Regan. We have John Harbarenko. And of course, we have David Redekop. So welcome everybody to the panel. I, for one, am very, very thrilled to have everyone together today. We've got a monster of a topic. It is going to be quite the discussion piece, I think. I just need to mention right out the gate that this show is sponsored by DNS Thingy, who we will talk about a little later on in the show. And make sure, if you're watching this at home, that you sign up or sign in to your YouTube or Google account to be able to participate in the chat. Participating in the chat not only lets us hear your opinions, but also gives you a chance to enter in for a prize, which we'll discuss a little later in the show. And with that being said, we're going to dive into our topic. And I know David was so excited about this topic. He can't wait to share it with you guys. So if you're in the audience, I want to hear your thoughts as David shares with us. David, take it away.
Thanks, Will, and hi, everybody. Glad to have you back again on a Wednesday night. And Telegram. Let's talk about Telegram. Here is a peer-to-peer messaging app that kind of is not very well known in the Western world, but the reality is that we have a product that is mostly a trust no one sort of qualifying product that allows people to communicate with each other and not be at risk for their messaging to be available to spying eyes from nation state governments. And so obviously this represents a little bit of a risk to those that are in control of nation states. And so some of you may have heard the news about how Russia put out an order to Telegram to said, give us your keys so that we can look into those conversations. And Telegram said, no, we're not giving you the keys. And Russia said, yes, you are. We'll shut you down. And these guys said, go ahead and try. So they tried. And at first, it may not have succeeded. But eventually, Russia ended up shutting down a whole swath of the internet. Millions and millions of IP addresses, amongst which were legitimate businesses that had nothing to do with Telegram, but because of how Telegram was rerouting their traffic through Amazon AWS and through Google Cloud, it ended up constantly evading. And so eventually, I like the analogy that Russia used a big sledgehammer on a little ant to shut it down. And now we read headlines like this from a few hours ago that Iran signals that their ban is imminent. So I'm curious what everyone's thoughts are on what we're seeing.
I mean, right out the gate, it's about as heavy-handed as you can get. My dad used to use the expression, you could glare so hard you'd knock the fly off the wall and take the wall with it. And this really seems like one of those situations. It's just, they really went a little bit overboard. I mean, really consider Google, like not having Google. That part there just blows my mind.
Yeah, I think they're up to like over 15 million IP addresses now.
And today also, there's an 8-fold increase on VPNs like Hotspot Shield, right? So people are using this. And one thing to note too is there are tools such as Siphon.ca, PHON.ca. These guys literally have built a business around being a circumvention tool, right? So when you have circumvention tools like this, it is not going to take long for any end user to walk right around the nation state firewall, because Siphon has thousands, if not tens of thousands, of possible dynamic places to reroute through. And so the average end user that doesn't know about VPN or proxy or circumvention tools like this will maybe be hampered a little bit with Telegram, but the rest of them, as we know, with the 88 times, so it's a 800% increase in VPN use in Russia as a result of this. So I'm thinking, like, is this just another picture of what we saw in Congress, where the world leaders don't really understand technology and how the internet is designed for survivability, and are just not aware that it's not a game that they can win? I don't know. What do you guys think?
It's kind of like parents with teenagers, and they're going to take the internet away from their teenagers. It doesn't really ever work out very well.
Them's fighting words, John, because I'm on the side where I do, and I'm on the side that, my goodness, I'm gonna win. My teenager will not walk around my firewall.
Sorry, I forgot to insert the word average parent into the equation there. Your average parent with your average teenager, the teenager is going to win. You know what I mean? It's try and put your thumb on something that just, like Jello, you know what I mean? Like, you can't. It'll find a way.
And Leanne, just like, it's a lost cause. You're not going to win. No parent ever wins, right, Leanne? Or what?
Well, I think this is, it's just an example where you read that. And, at one hand, I agree with Will. Well, you think it's so heavy-handed, but it's not really a well thought out solution, because they'll never win. You'll always find, like, I'm a big believer in there's always a way to get around something. And you'll always have those creative minds out there. And thankfully there's many of them where they will design a way to get around it, because, the internet is meant to be a free place to roam, and you can't cage them in. So I think that you read that and you go, like, really? Again, the eyes roll back, and same old from those countries. But there's always a way around it. So, which is great.
So let's talk about that for a minute. Like, we can use David's analogy. The sledgehammer is, a sledgehammer. It's this incredibly heavy approach. What do you guys think are going to be some of the ramifications that you see? Like the ones that we're already seeing, as David mentioned earlier, is the rise of VPNs, just by who knows by how many times, what are some other sort of possibilities that you see resulting from this?
Elyse, you want to share something? I know.
I just want to circle back to one of the comments that David made earlier on, and that's the challenge with an implementation like this is it blocks out a whole slew of other companies, big and small, that are trying to increase their web presence or improve it, or just be made accessible. And that's now no longer possible due to, the sledgehammer coming down on these 15 million IPs.
Yeah, you know what? I was thinking about that, Elyse, this afternoon. I was thinking, wow, I wonder how many Amazon AWS and Google account managers today had to deal with cancellations. And I also wonder how many private cloud providers, like all the guys and girls that are smaller than Google and Amazon that have these data centers around the world, just got a huge boost. Because what happened is all of these small e-commerce sites that got caught up in this large swath said, oh, so the problem is that I'm with Amazon and Google, therefore they are no longer viable partners of mine. So I'm going to go and find an OVH. I'm going to go and find a Rackspace. I'm going to go and find a virtual private server with GoDaddy or whatever, right? There's lots of other options out there for where you host your servers in the cloud. It's just that Amazon and Google are the biggest names. So this is not necessarily a bad thing, where we start to deconcentrate some of the very heavy concentration with the biggest player and allow some of the smaller players to have a piece of the pie. I mean, that was what I was thinking too this afternoon, Elyse, is how does that impact them? Of course, interrupts their business for the day, but you know that anybody who's focused on making sure their own business survives, they're going to be very adaptive and say, all right, we're migrating, we're moving. All of this cloud stuff is on demand anyway. So it doesn't take much to migrate stuff. I mean, I'm simplifying it, right? If you have a complex ecosystem of software and you've got your abstraction layers of web application servers and database servers, like it's a bigger job sometimes to migrate. But still, if you're losing customers, you're losing business, you're going to go for it.
Yeah, and I can just see the executives, Google executives and Amazon executives sitting up there now thinking, how are we going to respond to this?
Right. There were many trolley presentations today to executives. The trolley presentation is stick with the cloud of Amazon and Google and lose and not know what's going on, or spend more money and go with the smaller guys, and in a couple of days we're back in business, right? That's the trolley question today.
I would imagine, though, companies like Amazon and Google that, have been around for as long as they have. And, is this something that you can easily forecast? So can you prepare?
Oh my goodness. No, this is the reality of business, right? Is how can you tell what kinds of nation state decisions are going to suddenly impact your business, right? The number one rule in the marketplace is guaranteed access to the marketplace. Well, that number one rule of capitalism is all of a sudden less secure than it used to be. So, man, Daryl Siemens in the chat says he couldn't live without Google. I know. Can you imagine?
Me too.
How those
I
people
can't
feel?
imagine. I can't imagine.
He brings up another fantastic point a moment later where he says, regarding these changes, these heavy-handed movements, once you start, where do you draw the line? Where do these companies draw the line, and where do these nations draw the line?
Well, I guess that's my point, is that, this is something that, to me, the countries that are involved, this is not surprising. Like, this is not, oh, they did that. This is such a shock. And I guess that's my point, is that we've seen in the last couple of years, concerning behavior from, country specific. So as a large, large organization like Google and like Amazon, do they not have these conversations internally that discuss possibilities? So I guess how much of this is a surprise based on past behavior, I guess, is what, my thought is.
And that's a great thought, I think. And one that I think we're going to kind of leave with our audience a little bit. So audience, I see, John Hart makes an excellent point here, saying, it's amazing how people in China conduct their day. Pretty much the entire internet is filtered out, and services from companies like Google are completely blocked, but they've become quite resourceful. And we want to hear, more of your thoughts on this. This is obviously, a very sudden and very, how do I put it? Well, I mean, I hesitate to continue to go back to the sledgehammer metaphor, but it really is a very impactful event. So audience, let us know. Tell us what your thoughts are. Pile all your feelings into those comments. We want to read them. We want to hear them. And we're going to actually take a quick diversion from this. We're actually going to return back to a segment from a couple of episodes ago. Those of you who have been viewing this show for a little while will remember it. We've got my personal favorite tip of the week. I always learn something new every single week. And sharing it with us today is our good friend, John Harbarenko. So John, let us know what you've got for us.
Yes, I'm co-sharing it with the other co-founder, David. So Magnet is something that I use. This is just a dumb little tip, but Magnet is a 99-cent app in the Apple App Store that you can use if you use a Mac product. And basically it's great for helping you size your windows and snap them to the left, to the right, up, down. And I'm pretty sure Windows has this built in natively. Anyways, I think this is well worth the 99 cents to invest. And I did the math, and if you save a penny a day, it only take you a little over a few months to squirrel away enough to buy it.
Or half of one cup of coffee. Easily done.
Right. Wow, when you put it that way.
Yeah, right? Just get a small one day instead of the extra triple XL. Easily done. And one that I think really, like, again, for any Mac users who maybe are envious of those little things that Windows has, 99 cents solves your problem. That's a small price to pay as far as I'm concerned.
Wow. That's a very creative way to jab but not jab. I admire that.
That's why they put me as the host, It's a very thin line to walk. And with that being said, it's time for the sort of lead up to the prize draw. So as I mentioned earlier in the show, this show is sponsored by DNS Thingy, and we're actually going to have Leanne tell us a little bit about DNS Thingy as well as some recent developments involved with the company. So Leanne, take us away.
Why, thank you, Will. So first of all, I am a big fan of the DNS Thingy solution, and I'll tell you why. Part of my role with Nerds on Site is I support and sell a lot of our solutions, Nerds on Site solutions, to Canadian Tire dealers. And one of our most popular solutions is the DNS thingy. And the reason being is because the dealers and I would imagine, whether you're a business owner or whether you're a homeowner, with a residence, with children, or just yourself and another partner, that what I always hear that why DNS thing is so popular is because they get to manage their internet and they can block out unwanted content. They feel comfortable because they can surf the net or search with safety and comfort. And there's a lot of peace of mind with that, because there's a lot of concern when people go on and you get into a website, you don't know what you're surfing and what you're searching for, and you don't know what's coming off and, what's been planted. And, you have all these, it can be a scary place for some people. So DNS thingy helps control that. And again, it's control. And, it's funny how we're talking about DNS thingy and everybody wants control. Well, this is the kind of control that you want. This is a safe control. And there's, blacklisting. It keeps out what you don't want in, and it lets in what you want in, and saving up a lot of space. And it can also speed up your internet.
There you go.
So that's why I love DNS thingy. And also, I wanted to let our audience know that there is a special on right now for $75, I believe. David, you can help me out here.
Yep, that's correct. It's on the screen. $75 gets you a refurbished AC68U or AC1900 router. So this is perfect for those that want to try it out, or it's a second location or a second device or whatever. Yeah, absolutely. It's refurbished, so it comes with a 1-year warranty from DNS thingy, not from ASUS. So that's the only thing to note.
That's okay. And for those who, don't mind spending full price, you can look at this as kind of buy one, get one free deal. So,
hey, I like that idea.
Got our own BOGO going on.
Oh, and don't forget the guy or girl that gets the coupon today. It's a $135 coupon, and that gets you almost 2 of these. Almost.
Exactly.
There you go.
There you go. You took the words right out of my mouth, David. So with that being said, it's time for the draw. So I've got my random number generator set up here, and the winner this week is Daryl Siemens. So bringing great wisdom to us and receiving a prize in return, courtesy of random number generation. So Daryl, we will contact you a little bit later on regarding the winning of your coupon, of your prize. Congratulations from all of us here.
Way to go, Daryl.
Fantastic. So with that being said, we are at the end of our show, and I'm going to take just a quick moment here to speak to you, audience. This is the final episode of the very first season of NOS Live, and we want to hear from you. We want to know sort of what the future of this show is going to be, and we really, really want to know what's in store for us. So please let us know in the comments. Tell us your thoughts. Tell us what you love. Tell us what you don't love. Tell us anything. We really want to hear from you, and we really wanted to figure out what's going to happen in the future, and we really want to keep entertaining you and teaching and sharing our lives. And with that being said, from myself, Will, from Elyse, Leanne, David, and John, we say thank you and have an amazing evening.
Good night. Bye-bye.
Good night. Thanks, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you.